Welcome to my class, and today I'm going to share every single tips and tricks that you can use to cut down your application time. So I'm going to break this class down first into the steps and the tips and technique that I'm going to share with you guys that I've been using for the last 20 some years. I started when I was 4, by the way. So. This is my 25th year. and then we're going to do kind of like one of those time things later, moisturizer. And the best way to do that is doing my 5 points. All right, so 5 points basically just applying it to the forehead, the tip of the nose, the chin, and the 2 apples. So just want to spread that with your finger as long as they're clean and stuff. Make sure it's upward and out motion, okay? Never pulling down. All right, so we're just going to prime the lid area, starting from the base of the lashes, and we're going to blend it and work it upwards towards the brow hairs. So I usually just use a fluffy brush. You can use a MAC 217, or this is the Crown 433. All right, and we're just going to use a medium brown color, which is kind of a beige sand color right here. All right, tips. Here's the tips. That's going to cost you another 20 pounds. No, just kidding. All right, do not brush the palette. You see my palette is like really clean. It's because I don't brush it, and therefore there's no loose powders that goes all over the place. What you want to do is just nestle your brush and wiggle it, just like that. You're going to get more products on your brush than on your palette. So what you want to do is press it right into the skin. So you just press, press, press. So what you want to do is you don't want to pass the very last lash, okay? Because what happens, like if you pass your very last lash, your eyes are going to droop, okay? We want eyes that looks open and nice and white and pretty, all right? So just determine where your last lash is, and then you're going to basically place your color right where that last lash is, okay? Place the color first, blend later. So same thing, I'm just going to find her last lash, and I'm going to basically not pass that last lash. Okay, so warm brown has a little bit more of an orange tint to it, or a red tint, because warm and cool make each other stand out in color theory. When you blend to mix, you're going to create a third color. Say you have a red and a yellow, okay? If you blend to mix, you're going to get orange in the middle. If you blend to transition, you won't get that orange. You'll see that red goes boom, right into the yellow. It disappears into the yellow. You're going to drag the darker of the 2 color into the lighter, okay, of the 2 color. So you're just basically going to drag it until there's no line anymore. Kind of like a windshield wiper motion. All right, and the trick to doing this, guys, is do not blend the skin like this. I've seen a lot of makeup users applying it so heavy-handed that the bristles of the blender brush is really bent. It needs to be just really the tip that's touching the skin. Do not make the eyes identical, guys. Don't waste your time going, it's like, well, it's not like that. Well, it's not supposed to be like that because there's no 2 eyes that's exactly identical. Make them look symmetrical, but not identical. I always say sisters, not identical twins. You know, just like, don't waste your time picking the browns. Sometimes I do this, you know, like I pick 3 different browns and I just dip my brush in one, you know, like, because I have the deposit of pigments in my brush, okay? It's going to deposit a lot of color on her skin, okay? So, the first place that you need to apply your brow color is right in the arch. Do not start from the inner over here because it's going to make your brows bushy looking, okay? So always start from the arch, all right? If you start from the arch, do you guys see that deposit of color? You don't want that in the inner because it's going to make your brows bushy, all right? So always start from the arch and then drag it out to wherever it needs to extend, all right? And then you can go ahead and take that in to the inner. So that way it looks, you know, kind of like nice and medium coverage over here, and then it goes darker and then lighter again. Make sure, guys, that it's not shimmering. Nobody naturally, you know, shimmers in the highlights, okay? Same thing with bronzers. It's like I look like I'm out in the sun for an hour. It's like, I don't know anybody who came out, you know, went out in the sun for an hour, came in and all shimmery and glittery, you know? It's like, well, why is your bronzer shimmery and glittery? All right, so when you guys are highlighting, always apply, all right, the highlighter right at the base of the hairline, the hairs, okay? That's where the deposit of your highlight color should be. So, mistake that a lot of people do is putting their eyeliner straight on. Who's guilty here? Raise your hand, all right? And then you're wondering why it's all over the place, right? Yeah. All right. So try to apply your eyeliner with the pencil sideways and use the point of your pencil as a guide. You're going to be a little bit more successful in applying your eyeliner that way. And I'm just going to line and take this all the way to, again, my other safe zone is the very, very last lash. Okay, open. Okay, press it on first to set. There we go. Now I see it mattifying, and I'm going to be able to clean the edges. We're going to go to the face area. We're done with the eyes. We're just going to see if there's any change on the colors, and we're going to do our foundation. So first off, I like priming the skin with a regular primer, face primer. This is high definition primer from Makeup Forever. I tend to use a Smashbox as well, photo finish in clear. Most primers are silicone based, and silicone just automatically right into those fine lines, okay? So all you need to do is really cover the whole face with it. If you're shopping for foundation, a new brand that you've never used before, and you don't know if you're, which one's an NC43? And you're at Makeup Forever, they'll be like, you need to be back, you know. Then you're going to need to swatch your own self, okay? And rule of thumb in foundation, guys, do not match the face. This is when you look masked. You need to match the neck coloring, okay? Because your neck coloring is probably the same coloring as the rest of your body, okay? Your face is a little bit more susceptible to sun exposure, so therefore sometimes it's darker, sometimes it's redder. The best place to swatch and match your foundation, guys, is right in the jawline, right here, because that's where the neck coloring and the face coloring meets. If the foundation disappears right in that area, it means you found the perfect. And I'm going to draw a plane on her face. Here's the tail of the plane to the body of the plane. Put the cockpit right in the chin. And where does the wing go, guys? Cheeks. The cheeks! There you go. And there you go. Okay? And then I asked my client, would you like that blended? Because it'll be another 150 pounds. Otherwise, you're done. See you next week. Beauty blender, or I like using the traditional just sponge. And you're going to need to make sure that it's wet, okay? Dry sponge is going to pick up all that product into the sponge, okay? So make sure that it's wet so it doesn't pick up all the products back. Make sure it's nice and wet, but not too wet that it's dripping. Squeeze out the excess. Then very, very light-handedly, guys, if you're doing this on yourself or on a client, you're going to need to spread the foundation, all right? So starting from the forehead, I'm just going to very, very lightly and light-handedly spread that right into the outer parameters of the skin, and this is going to give you a beautiful coverage with that. And then we're going to work on getting this right into the cheeks. Fluffy brush, powder. It doesn't mean that you have to fluff it. Who does that? Yeah, you again? Yeah? All right. Fluffy brush, powder, okay? Wiggle it so that powder is on your brush, okay? Tap it upside down so that it falls in the body of the brush and not all over your floor. Fluffy brush with powder, skid. The first instinct we do is go, okay? This is the best way to set your powder more successfully. Press and roll. Press and roll, press and roll, press and roll. When you see that mattifying, it means it's setting. If your foundation is satin finish or like a dewy finish, it's going to go back to that finish later on after it's set. Okay, again, with bronzer, I'm just going to tap, all right? And you're going to bronze where the sun naturally hits you, all right? So, which is, you know, the areas that are protruding more, which is the forehead, a little bit on the cheekbone and on the chin. I want it, and then when I get there, I'm just going to drag that all the way to the hairline. Warm up the forehead. The forehead is susceptible to sun, okay? So I'm just going to do the same thing. And make sure that that disappears right into the hairline for that nice, beautiful bronze glow. I've seen a lot of the glow wearers that's doing this back and forth number, and then they smile at you, and you see every single crack there is, and you're like, ooh, right? You know what I'm talking about. So you want to get into those cracks. Press it one more time, and then with the transfer, you basically just fill in. There you go. Nice and gloss. Number 1, do not pump. This number right here, what is that? Why do you do that, right? You're basically putting more air in there, and air has bacteria, and this is basically an all-you-can-eat buffet for bacteria. You need to swirl it like that, and it's going to get all the product that's in there. And a couple of tips from EnKore. Break your habit of doing the top lashes first. How many people in here always start with their top lashes first? Oh, a lot of you guys. And then what do you do after you do your top lashes?
You open your eyes and then
you do the bottom lash and there goes your mascara. You're like, oh, how do you get there? And there you have it. So now you're ready to go to work and school and whatnot, right? Pretty cool? Yeah. This is kind of good, actually, because a lot of women tend to look like this in the morning, right? With a little bit of makeup still and whatnot. Okay, press it on first, press, press, press. And then we're going to spread all the way to the crease line. Dry the color in. Starting from the outer, arch, taking it out. Pat, pat, pat. Pat, pat, pat. Blend. Warm the forehead. A little bit on the chin. A couple of drabs on the middle of the pout. Just pat it on right in the middle of the pout. Press. Okay, and what name transfer?
30 seconds.
30 seconds! Oh my god! I have 30 seconds, y'all! Alright, here we go. Bottom. And all you need to do is spritz your setting spray. It's going to spray. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And out the door you go. Go to work. Go to the show. Shop, shop, shop.